Walk with me.
God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth amongst the gods. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the person of the wicked? Selah. Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and the needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. But ye shall die like men, and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. Psalms chapter 82. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me and my seed forever, that we go not astray henceforth and forevermore. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20, a prayer of Abram. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Those of you on this platform and those shared platforms, we thank God for you, and we give God the praise and the glory. Yes, this is a day that God hath made. Yes, yes, yes. And we find out that even in this, didn't God say, he said, ye are gods? Where did he get this from? Ye are gods. Now, we're talking in Psalms. Where did he get that from? We're going to figure that out. And he said he was talking to the children of Jacob, the children of Jacob. Now, you can say Israel all you want, but the children of Jacob, we can be more specific. The seed, the bloodline, or the seed line of Jacob. Yes, but ye shall die like men. Even with Adam. Adam would have lived a long time. Adam would have been a man that, he would have lived, if he'd have lived, he didn't even live what they would call a heavenly year. He lived close to it. Shy of just under 10 years, Adam lived. But he lived to see the corruption of his own children and how the children multiplied in them 900 and so many years, or 90 something years. But he died, and then Methuselah was under his grandfather Adam. He lived second longest, and then therefore, and then after. Now, and we're going to say this with a hand clap of praise. We thank God for you, and you. We thank God for those of you that have been with us since the beginning, and those of you that have come thereafter and here and there's about. And we thank God for those of you that have just subscribed. Yes, we thank God for you. And we thank God for those of you that are about to subscribe, calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes, yes, yes. Praises, praises, all praises to the Most High. Even he who created all things, the God of Abraham, Asaka, even a Kobe. Yes, or you call them Isaac and Jacob. Yes, we give God the glory and praise even for you. Yes, because the angels are going to rejoice over you. That's who they're going to rejoice of. They're going to rejoice over you. You that have, or that will endure until the end. You that have swept the floors of doctrines and swept and found what God is saying. The only way you can sweep these floors, you have to use the law. The law is your broom. All the doctrines that you see, the law of the Most High is your broom. For in the law, God talks about himself, I change not. And for in the law, God talks about, if you be willing and obedient to what? These laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinances. Yes, some of them we cannot obey because the fact is the earth is given over to the heathen. And our ancestors have caused even to anger the Most High that the daily sacrifice is taken away. But it shall come back because he promised that he will cleanse the sons of Levi. Yes, there is no high priest. The only high priest before Levi was that of Shem, who they call Melchizedek, and he's called another name in the book of Jubilees and Jasher. Shem was the one who stuck closely to the Most High. And from the line of Shem, God chose Abraham. From the line of Abraham, God chose Isaac. From the line of Isaac, God chose who? Jacob. And from the line of Jacob, God chose who? Judah and Levi. Judah, and that he shall bear the scepter. In other words, he would, and then Levi, that he should minister before the Most High. And now, who shall he choose? He shall choose you if you be willing and obedient. And therefore, even that mountain that Daniel saw, and that mountain whom there was a small stone hewn out of the mountain and slung at the feet of capitalism. All kind of isms in this world. Capitalism, imperialism, what you would call it, socialism, and all these other things that men have concocted unto themselves. God shall destroy it. The government is not on Esau's shoulders. God just showing you man cannot rule man. Man cannot even rule himself. And then he that controls his spirit, he's the one that is a perfect man because he can rule himself. Not only that, even your flesh, that comes with fasting, praying, and just shunning those things that are not, or should I say, those things that are not in order with God. In other words, inordinate affections, shunning them. This is God's way. Now, whether you do it early in life or late in life, it doesn't matter. But God wants to see a man after his own calling. Yes. And he calls every one of us to be holy. And the only way we can be holy is through the commandments, statutes, and ordinances of the Most High by obedience. Not by no blood of no man. Not by no, just by shouting and saying, jumping up and down with our high heels. No. Or the shun-nun-nun, all that stuff. Obedience to his law, statutes, ordinances, and commandments. Yes. Many of you that have fled in you have kept your ancestors' ways, Igbo and those down in South Africa that have kept your ancestors' ways. Yes, he calls on you also. Don't adopt the ways of the heathen that have come to try to get you, sway you their way, but you adopt those ways that you know better to do. But nevertheless, God is praised, and he called you gods. In other words, he said, you are my children. So if you obey that which God have told you to do and act as or be as God, then you are the children of God. You are gods. Because God is holy, God is right. Why is God so righteous? His laws, statutes, ordinances, and commandments. That is God's righteousness. See, don't get it wrong. This is the way of Satan to put you away from the righteousness of the Most High. It's not in Jesus, no. Or your Isus, or your Yahushai, or Yahusha, or whatever you want to call him. It's not there. It's in the law. You can't tell me some man came and was sacrificed by a heathen. His body was touched, and God commanded them to sacrifice him before him, and God was pleased. No, get out of here. No. That's not the way God is not like that. God is not, and that's not a feeling. Because he says, the fact is, he says, I change not. I'm not going by feelings like many people do go. Your feelings are void, and they will cast you into that place that Enoch described for the wicked. And then finally with the devil and his hordes, or the Satans. Yes, but the fact is, holiness, which is the law, without no man can see the Most High. Yes. So therefore, let us continue. Now we're in chapter 65 of the book of Jasher, Jasher chapter 65, and we ended in 64 with verse 50. And there was a big battle going on where the children of Esau, Jephthah, he wanted to subdue the children of Esau, and he forgot about the Most High, and he began to, what did he do? He began to go at God. And then he forgot about him, and he started going toward Egypt with all his hordes of men and all those who would be with him. Even, they say, the king of Africa, but that was just a country on the continent, because Africa did not have a name. None of the countries really had a name. There were countries on that continent that had a name. There were territories of people. Now, if that territory and that people were named Africa, then so be it. But most of the countries were in that land were named by white folks that we know today, or colonizers. There's no racism there. It's true. Period. They were, in other words, I changed the name that I might seem holy, or should I say powerful to you. So this guy you call Leo Africanus is a big lie, because Africa probably was named that before this, according to this narrative. There was a country or a small place in Africa named Africa. But anyway, I digress. But the children of Jacob, they slew the children of Esau, who tried to come back and avenge their father, because one of the sons or grandsons of Jacob chopped off Esau's head and put a yoke on some of Esau's children to fulfill the Most High's word. Now, let us read Jasher chapter 65 and verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that all the counselors of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and all the elders of Egypt assembled and came before the king and bowed down to the ground, and they sat before him. Okay, they sat before him, sat before the throne, yes. And the counselors, because Joseph was not there, there was no man before or after Joseph who stood second after the king. And the counselors and elders of Egypt spoke unto the king, saying, Behold, the people of the children of Israel is greater and mightier than we are. And thou knowest all the evil which they did to us in the road when we returned from battle. See, they put a whooping on Egyptians. Egyptians hated them. I ain't talking about them Arabs who say they are Egyptians. I'm talking about those Negroid Egyptians. And thou hast also seen their strong power, for this power is unto them for their fathers. But a few men stood up against a people numerous as the sands of the sea, and smote them at the edge of the sword, and of themselves not one has fallen. In other words, God has preserved them. See, God can preserve you if you would trust him and not let your eyes deceive you, even as they say in some of the Jedi movies, if you will not trust your eyes, but trust your God. This is what I'm saying. Don't trust your eyes. Don't trust your ears, but trust your God. Don't trust the blood you see shed. Don't trust the destroy or the noise or anything, but trust your God. This is what God wants to say to Israel and to those of Jacob. I'm not talking about the heathen that come from Europe. No, I'm talking to you, Jacob. Trust not your eyes, and trust not your ears, unless it's the ears receiving that of the law, statutes, commandments, and ordinances of the Most High. Yes. He says, and of themselves not one fallen, so if they had been numerous as they would have utterly destroyed them. Now therefore give us counsel what to do with them, until we gradually destroy them from amongst us, lest they become too numerous for us in the land. And if the children of Israel should increase in the land, they will become an obstacle to us. And if any war should happen to take place, they with their great strength will join our enemies against us and fight against us, destroy us from the land, and go away from it. Now, why would they do that when they dwell securely in the land of Goshen, and Egypt is their neighbor? No, they're not going to do that. No, Israel ain't like that. Jacob, the children of Jacob are not like that. Now, Israel, I have some doubts about that name of Israel. Some say is not real. It was a name given by Colin. That's not really the true name, to tell you the truth. But we say that name because that's what most understand, because of the campaigns of those who want to be the children of Jacob. Now, our enemy against us and fight against us and destroy us from the land to go away from it. So the king answered the elders of Egypt and said unto them, This is the plan advised against is not real, or Israel, the children of Jacob, should I say, from which we will not depart. Behold, in the land are Pithom and Ramses, city unfortified against battle. It behooves you for us to build them. for to fortify them. Now therefore go you also act cunningly toward them. In other words, deceive them. And proclaim a voice in Egypt and in Goshen, and at the command of the king, saying, all ye men of Egypt, Goshen, Pathros, and all their inhabitants, the king has commanded us to build Pithom and Ramses, and to fortify them for battle. Who amongst you of all Egypt, of the children of Israel, and of all the inhabitants of the city, are willing to build with us, shall each have his wages, and given to him a daily at the king's order. So go you first and do cunningly, and gather yourselves, and come to Pithom and Ramses to build. In other words, they deceiving you. Like some places that you know, the employment places, or they say work at home, and then you look for a check out of all that work you did, and there is no check. They deceived you. Some say they give you crypto, and then they tell you you have to pay this and pay that, and then you give them some more money, and then they give you some more money, and then next thing you know, nothing. This is how they get rich. They're getting your money. But what are you getting? Nothing. Some do get money. I can't say that crypto don't give you any money, but the fact is there are many ripoffs in this crypto game. Now, and while as you are building, cause a proclamation of this kind to be made throughout Egypt every day at the command of the king. And when some of the children of Israel shall come to build with you, you shall give them their wages daily for a few days. And after they shall have built with you for their daily hire, drag yourself away from them daily. You know, oh, this is what he's saying. Look at here. He said, when the children come and build with you, you shall give them their wages daily for a few days. Now, after they shall have built with you for their daily hire, he said, now ease away from them daily, a little bit at a time, one by one. See, this is not in the 66 books. The 66 books were translated, whether by deception or whatever, with the 66 books were translated for the Greeks. You have the Septuagint, and then you had the Pentateuch, they call it. And they were translated for the Greeks. That's just like even saying that Moses told them to put badger skin upon the temple, the portable temple that God had them to build. But badger skin is badger's an unclean beast. And then you have these heathen that says, oh, it could have meant porpoise. Israel don't know nothing about no porpoise at that time. Come on here. How silly can it get? No, nobody know what that is. Nobody know what it is. They can't translate that word of what God is saying. So they come up with some cockamamie explanation. You have to realize, and key words that the colonizers use and those that are enemies of Israel, they use is we think, we suppose. In other words, words of ambiguity, but yet still continue on with their narrative. Beware of those words, because they're unsure of what they're saying, but they want it to seem as though to you that they are correct. Yes, and now here they are slipping away daily for a few days. Haven't you been in a workplace and you seen certain people they were working and all of a sudden they were over you and you didn't know how they got that position? I digress. And after that, they have built with you for their daily hire. Drag yourself away from them daily, one by one in secret. Then you shall rise up and become their taskmasters. Whoa. Maybe that happened with sharecropping too. Into chattel slavery. You on your land and hear all these immigrants on there getting taught and everything, and they're buying the land under your nose, and all of a sudden they own the land and you're working for them when they were working for you or called themselves sharing with you. Maybe they got that from here. And after that shall have built with you for their daily hire, drag yourself away from them. Verse 13, and one by one in secret, then you shall rise up and become their taskmasters and officers. And you shall lead them afterward to build without wages. And should they refuse, then force them with all your might to build. Now this is where it says they served with rigor. In other words, whatever means necessary is what Pharaoh is saying unto his people. And if you do this, it will be well with us to strengthen our land against the children of Israel. Now, this here probably came from the Most High to a wicked spirit, a deceitful spirit. See, you have to look at the spiritual part in the Bible. You stop looking at the first surface stuff that churches and Christianity teaches you and other entities. And even some Islamic places, they tell you surface stuff. God talks about, this is spirituality. God is talking about spirits. This is why they shun the book of Enoch, Jubilees, and Jasher, because it gets into spiritual things. We know the spirits that lurk around those of us who read these books and know what is going on in the spirit realm and why people think the way they think. They don't even know why they think they think. This is why people get fickled and they get crazy and the mind is boggled. These devils. Let us continue. He says, now, if you will do this in verse 14, it will be well with us to strengthen our land against the children of Jacob, for on account of the fatigue of the building and the work, the children of Israel will decrease, because you will deprive them of from their wives day by day. In other words, they can't have no children. They're going to decrease. Now, see, look at this. Look at this. This is the psychology. People take the psychology from the Bible. They tell you don't read this stuff. You work every day. You work hard. Some of you stay away from your family so long. You can't even be with your wives. Some of you work so hard in these these jobs, and you working overtime. And what's the use of overtime? What is it going to do for you? What is it going to do for the company? Nothing. It's not going to, nobody's going to buy that stuff overnight and stuff like that. No. It's not going to happen. But this is some type of secret thing that they do to keep you working and to keep you tired. Then you find out the divorce rate has gone up. You're not prospering like you should. These wives, they're working with devils. These wives are getting leery because their husbands are not at home, especially those of you of Jacob. And then they start to take a different route and start to cheating and stuff like that, and you, the man, decides, I'm going to leave and go somewhere else. Just a few you can trick you into the office stuff and all this, just a few. But most, you will stay working hard. You see, because those who come from other countries, they're used to that. They work hard, they do things, but then they see that in the United States, in these Americas, that they work 24/7. And it wears them out. Even those of Africa have came to say that these people work too much. Just like the children in Japan. They work a lot. That's what they do. This is their life, not livelihood. You can't enjoy life working all the time. And he says, deprive them of their wives daily. They won't have children. They'll be the marriages are dissolved. Their wives will start seeking other men that are not working. It will become total chaos. Think, man, think. And all the elders of Egypt heard the counsel of the king, and their counsel seemed good in their eyes, and in their eyes, the servants of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of all Egypt, and they did according to the word of the king. In other words, this is how they disbanded the family. They made the family dysfunctional. There are many other things, but this is one of the ways they did it. Work you, pay you, underpaying you. Then you get deprived when then this arbitrarily, this factory or this operation decides it wants to fold over, and who's the first let go? Jacob. Who's the last hired? Jacob. Who can see other nations come in, and then next thing you know, they're working over you when they were working beside you? Jacob. Come on here, this is by design. This is nothing that these people can't think of stuff like this. This comes from a religious entity that the rich have concocted, and they have done this thing, and then the people that do these things do not know what is actually going on. They smile and stuff. They don't know. All they know is that, oh, he picked me. But the ones that are in the higher ups, they devise that, and they orchestrate it within their organizations. This is how you got your big corporations and your big workplaces and all this. Think about it. And all the elders of Egypt heard the counsel of the king, and the counsel seemed good in their eyes, and in the eyes of the servant of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of all Egypt, and they did according to the word of the king. Now you have to realize, even most of the women of Jacob, what did they do with them? And those of you who think you got a big corporate thing, they allow you to make good money. But the fact is that, look at you. You're not owning a corporation. You're only an advisor. You're only a middleman, doing the same thing as the other man beside you. You're ripping off your other man because you don't even know you're doing it. Your fellow man, you don't even know you're doing it. And some of you, even the women, think, oh, I have this business, I have this, I'm counseling, I'm doing this and doing that. Counseling don't put food in the mouth of the many. It just only serves the one. And the many gets commercialized. Oh, you have a problem. We're going to coach you in your marriage. We're going to coach you. Well, why is the marriage in jeopardy anyway? Because of these things. They're not going to let you into their hierarchy. No. Very few, if any, gets into the hierarchy. Then the fact is that they put you down. Now, verse 16, and all the servants went away from the king, and they caused a proclamation to be made in all Egypt, in Tachpanches, and in Goshen, and in all the cities which surround Egypt, saying, if you have seen what the children of Esau and Ishmael did to us, who came to war against us and wished to destroy us, now therefore the king commanded us to fortify the land, and to build the cities of Pithom and Ramses, and to fortify them for battle, if they should come against us. Now whosoever of you from all Egypt and from the children of Israel come to build with us, he shall have his daily wages, and give by the king as his command, his command is unto us. And when Egypt and all the children of Israel heard all that the servants of Pharaoh had spoken, there came from the Egyptians and the children of Israel to build with the servants of Pharaoh. No, we're working side by side. Look at us. We're integrated. Yes, we're integrated. Yeah, we're equal with them. So you think. Don't you know the hierarchy, the religious hierarchy that were taught, the rich hierarchy, this doctrine? Come on here. Pithom and Ramses, but none of the children of Levi came with their brethren to build, because Levi was one who would serve the Most High. He would stand before the Most High. And all the servants of Pharaoh and his princes came at first with the deceit to build with all Israel. They're working right beside you, just like today, and all of a sudden they disappeared. They're in charge of you. They're your taskmasters. They're your supervisors. They're watching over you, eyeing you everything you go. You go to the bathroom too much. They do this too much. And this person just walked in the door. Come on here. Yeah, my God, my God, my God. Wake up, Jacob. And all Israel as daily hired laborers. They gave Israel their daily hire at the beginning. They paid you. Yeah, they paid you good. You get paid. And now they said, we have to cut your pay. We have to cut your hours. And the servants of Pharaoh built with all Israel, and they were employed in that work with Israel for a month. And at the end of the month, all the servants of Pharaoh began to withdraw secretly and from the people of Israel daily. That's why they got rid of that book. Got rid of it. They didn't even want you to know this book even to this day. But now some even make money by showing this book. And Israel went on with work at that time, but they just received their daily hire because some of the men of Egypt were yet carrying on the work with Israel at that time. In other words, they were still going, they're still going. Okay, we working next with them, we equal, yay, okay. And Israel gave their hire in those days in order that they, the Egyptians, their fellow workmen, might also take the pay for their labor. And at the end of the year and 4 months, all the Egyptians have withdrawn from the children of Israel. You find out, why is your warehouse and all this all black folk, and all the other folks are in the offices and they're doing jobs on their butt. They're lazy. They're your supervisors. They're the ones who's making the big bucks and got the big cars, and they're secretly laying with your women, huh? Because the women are so foolish, they don't see the whole scenario. Come on, huh? So that the children of Israel were left alone and engaged in work. And after all the Egyptians had withdrawn from the children of Israel, they returned and became oppressors and officers over them. And some of them stood over the children of Israel as taskmasters, your supervisors. Oh, I'm going to my supervisor's savior to receive from them all that they gave them for the pay of their labor. And the Egyptians did this in a manner to the children of Israel day by day in order to afflict in their work. In other words, the water is steadily getting heated up. And all the children of Israel were alone, engaged in labor. You alone. You have these eyes of the heathen, and they're watching you. And you're getting scared because you need the money, and the money is not coming fast enough because you have been bamboozled on the other side to buy this and buy that and get this, and this will make you look rich, and this will make you look good. Get this type of car and that type of car. So they got you where they want you. You're a slave. And all the children of Israel were gone engaged in labor, and the Egyptians refrained from giving any pay to the children of Israel from that time forward. And when some of the men of Israel refused to work on account of the wages not being given them to the exactors, the servants of Pharaoh oppressed them and smote them. You're fired. Then you go to stealing, sticking up a liquor store, fighting with your wife, and she's fighting with you because you don't have a job. You was pumped up with this nice house and truck and all these other things. And then they just ripped it all from under you. Yes. Been there, done that. And so, then the exactors and the servants of Pharaoh oppressed them and smote them with heavy blows and made them return by force to labor. In other words, it's not by force, but you need to go to the unemployment line. You need a job. You need a job. You need a job to do this. You need a job to do that. And then, oh, whoa, if you have child support, they've even got you on that end. They've pumped up the women of Jacob, and they've got them to the point where I got to depend on my savior, the government. And he's going to get the money out of you whether you have to throw your butt in jail or not. Yeah, they got you. And smote them with heavy blows and made them return by force to labor with their brethren. And thus did all the Egyptians unto the children of Israel all the days. And all the children of Israel were greatly afraid of the Egyptians in this manner. And all the children of Israel returned and worked alone without pay. We're going to stop right here. And we're going to continue with verse 31 when we come back. Yes, for those of you that hear me, look at how Satan had moved, or God had dealt with these people. Wisdom is known of her children, and foolishness is known of a fool too. Woman, you have to respect your husband regardless. Woman of Jacob. Whether you have to walk alone with him in the streets and stay homeless with him or whatever, because this is the will of the enemy. It starts spiritually and it ends physical. You're gonna have to make sure this man that your insights and your foresights. You've been watching too much of Gone with the Wind and all these other things. You've been watching too many Dallas and all these other rich folks things that you feel like you have to have all of this. Then you be made to be this taskmaster's whore or this taskmaster's lady of the night, so that you might keep your job or you might get a higher pay. Not only you, sometimes it's the others, their own women, but most of the time it's you, because he has a fetish. He wants you. Yeah, you think you're doing something. You smile in shame toward your brethren and your sisters that you have gave in to the auspices of the enemy. And those of you men, you think that you are nothing because you have no money and you're broke. You have no dignity because you're broke, and the women will not come at you, or your wife, she forsakes you because of this. This is all by design. By design. And it got even worse when you decide you want it to be equal. And with that, we're going to say, think. Bind wisdom around your neck. Learn and know why things are why they are. And with that, we're going to say, may you have peace.
Walk with me.